Guys, sometimes us in the knife community, we forget it's called the knife hobby for a reason. It's supposed to be fun. And then every once in a while, you get a knife that bridges that gap and reminds you how much fun it can be, but it's still functional and usable. This thing's amazing. I absolutely love it. This is the QSP Platypus, and we're going to take a look at it from above. So guys, sorry for the longer intro, but like I said, you just have to be reminded that this is a hobby and sometimes it's just fun. It doesn't have to be anything special, but this is a very, very functional knife. This is the QSP Platypus. This did come to me directly from QSP, so let's get that out of the way. It might be the best one they possibly had, but I have not seen a bad QSP knife. So let's get the boring stuff out of the way and get the specs and then some size comparisons. So nice thing about it is you can see here, QSP, you can pause this if you want, if you get all the specs, but 8.625 inches overall, 3.75 inch blade, and a 4.87 inch handle done in Sandvik 14C28N. Let's get that out of the way. So some size comparisons. First knife's going to be the Ferrum Forge Master Blaster. This is only out because it was in my pocket and you guys like to see it sometimes. So let's get that out of the way and look at the next knife, the Benchmade 940, an actual honest size comparison. You can see it's a good bit bigger than a 940. And then as always, your final knife for comparison is the Chris Reese Sebenza Large 21. You can see you're looking at a good bit bigger knife here. So let's get this out of the way and we'll talk about how much fun this knife is. So the enjoyment factor in this knife is not the only factor. This is a very, very good, very comfortable knife. So we'll talk about all the cool stuff about it, but just looking at it is incredibly unique. It's a fun knife to look at. It's a fun knife to carry. So the 14C28N blade has got a very similar shape to a Chinese sword or a Chinese ring sword especially. And I'll put an image of that up here so you guys can see it. It's done in 14C28N, like I said, and it's ground down to a just about the middle of the ground Goldilocks zone edge thickness. It's behind the edge thickness. It's not super thin where you have to worry about edge cracking. It's also not too thick to let it cut. It does cut very, very well in hand. Really, really comfortable with these handles. But the action on it is really good. So thumb stud, everybody's like, oh, it's thumb studs only. You can reverse flick off of, but it's not thumb stud only. It does have a very functional wave feature, a wave style feature on it. And you can reverse flick off of the fuller. So there are multiple ways to do it. Thumb stud, reverse flick, and wave feature. So action on it is nice and smooth. It's almost drop shut, just shy of drop shut. In hand, it's really comfortable to cut with. You've got this ramp here. This is something I typically am not a fan of, the wave style features, but knives that do have ones like this give you a nice ramp to get your thumb up on where you're not clear up on the blade and you're not in a cutting path where you're blocking and limiting the amount of blade you're using. Really, really good amount of blade. The blade is radiused and it has a nice radius to it. It's all belly all the time, but it's also not such a steep radius. It's not so curved that you can't do finer tasks like you would. Hang on a second, Blue Angels are flying over. There's an air show and they're coming in. But what I was saying is it's a nice radius because it feels flatter than it is, but you can do long sweeping cuts. The grip on it is great because you've got nice beefy handles. They're not super wide. They're just the right mix of width and thickness. And to tell you the truth, it's not an uncomfortable carry in pocket, even as big as it is. So when you go down into it, these handles have got this inlaid look to them. I mean, it is inlaid. It's two-tone G10. It's done really, really well. There's no gaps, no spaces, no sharp spots. Pocket clip is a deeper carry pocket clip, deep, almost all the way down deep carry pocket clip. But it feels really good in hand. It's one I don't dislike, and it's reversible with a cover. It's done in a liner lock, and they did some weight reduction. I'm not gonna lie, it's still fairly heavy. This is a fairly heavy knife because it's a big knife. But then you get down to the little points of it. We've looked at all, oh, I'm sorry, lock bar tension, the release on that is excellent. It is a nice, soft release on that. And they did a really good job of giving you space and jimping that's not sharp or uncomfortable on that. So on top of everything else this knife has going for it, really functional, really good materials, really good craftsmanship, It is uniquely attractive. It has got a really interesting look to it. So you've got the lines of the knife itself, but then you go into some of the other small little things. The backspacer on this is just gorgeous. It's got that geometric shape that you would see on a lot of Chinese banners going along with the Chinese ring sword theme. It's got a really cool look to it. The pivot is done really, really well. It's attractive. It's the same on both sides. And for a $65 knife, 62 to $65 is where I was finding it. It's amazing looking. If you like a lanyard hold, it's got a big lanyard hole. I'm not a fan of that, but it's really not that bad on this knife. It just is a great all-around knife that, kind of like I said, it brings you back into the fun of the hobby. It's functional and it's fun. So there's only a couple small things about this knife that I would like to point out, and we'll talk about those real quick right after you hear from this video sponsor, Coffee Brand Coffee. Guys, you guys know I love coffee. I even have my own personalized coffee mug. But did you know that a lot of the coffee companies out there take a lot of the money that you give them that they should be throwing back into the company to make a better product and turn it into activism dollars? Coffee Brand Coffee does not do that. They take no stance politically any direction. They take all the money that they make and try to make a better product. So if you want to support this channel and a company that I absolutely do like the fact that they don't lean either direction politically, check out Coffee Brand Coffee. There's a link down below that will save you 5% at checkout, or you can use the coupon code CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S, Crazy Sharp, all one word. They also have cold brew coffee, teas, and cocos, freshly ground and roasted to order. So check them out, support them, and support this channel. Don't forget, Coffee Brand Coffee adds new flavors several times a month if you want to check them out. Just only a couple little small things. The thumb studs, I mean, they work really well. Like I said, the deployment on them is okay. The thing I think that I've noticed is they're kind of aggressive, especially if you've got softer fingers, and in that reverse flick, you can definitely see right there, they are aggressive, and it's because they've got this little lip here. I find myself getting on the lip instead of the top of the thumb stud, but they're a little aggressive. I would have liked to have seen it more domed or maybe a different, I don't know. But some of that has to come from the fact that detent is pretty stiff on this. For as soft as it is to release, you got a really big detent ball. So you've got good detent, but that can make those already aggressive thumb studs feel a little more uncomfortable. The reverse flick is great. And then the only other real thing that I have to say is they jimped this ramp here, which is the top of that wave style feature that's on this, which does work really well. This is not what I'm complaining about. I wish that the jimping was not as soft. It's there, and especially having a ramp, if it was a little bit more aggressive, if it was not quite as soft, like you can't really, there's no real sharp, hard edge on that. You can kind of see, let me zoom in. You can see that they're pretty softened and rounded. They don't provide you with the traction I would want from jimping. And you've heard me say it a bunch of times. If you're gonna put jimping, I want it to be functional. But other than that, this is a knife that brings the fun back. It reminds you why you got into knives, because they are fun. They're a fun tool. They're a way that us knife guys express ourselves through our knives. It's a tool, yes, but it doesn't have to be an ugly, unfun folder, which is some of my big problems with knives like this. They're just not fun. There's no fun in that. There's a reason that company went out of business. So guys, I love this knife. I was going to do this as a giveaway. I'm keeping this. So sorry, guys, you'll have to go find one yourself. Let's turn this around, do some final thoughts, and I'll send you out about your day. So yeah, this knife has absolutely endeared itself to me. I'm in love with it. It's gonna stay here. It gets a lot of pocket time. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. And it is a nice little reminder that not everything has to be that super functional EDC. But the fact is, this is both. It's fun, it's functional, it's awesome. Remember why we got into knives in the first place. Don't ever forget that, guys. There's a lot of guys who are, oh, that's a garbage knife because of this. And I'm guilty of it too. Just remember, it is a hobby, and we all can like weird stuff every once in a while. Big shout out to QSP for sending me this. I'm really happy they reminded me of why I got into knives in the first place. So that's it on this one, guys. You know, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel. I imagine I threw a Coffee Brand Coffee ad in. I filmed the body of the video yesterday. I had scripted out what I wanted to say about this part and the intro, so I'm just getting around to that. Sponsors down below, they have links. Discounts are built in. Coffee Brand Coffee, Tempered Trail. They both are awesome companies. They are not woke. They're not conservative. They are apolitical, completely politically neutral. So don't feel bad about checking out their products. They're, like I said, Coffee Brand Coffee drops new flavors every month. They have a money-back guarantee if you want to try it out. And my discount code there saves you 10% permanently now. I've got an Amazon. Oh, there's a discount code at Fair & Forge Knife Works and Rosecraft Blades that saves you 5% if you want to use it. It's crazy sharp, all one word. You can use it, both of those. I got an Amazon store down below. Take that link, pin it to your browser. Do it. Any shopping you do on Amazon with my link. It supports the channel. It does not cost you anything additional at checkout. And I do have a membership where I have set up a robust set of rewards and benefits for those guys. I have a private Discord for all the members. All the members get early access to videos. All the members get exclusive content. Baseline and premium tier members get entered into giveaways that I do on the Gilded server. And the premium guys have access to a sharpening tutorial series here on YouTube behind the paywall. That's it, guys. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comments section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I'll see you in the next video. It's so much fun. It really is. You should pick one up.